When the Buddha was residing in Amaravati, his profound wisdom had spread far and wide. Seekers would journey from distant lands to seek solace and guidance from him for their troubles and queries. One day, as he was imparting his teachings to his disciples, a middle-aged man approached him, accompanied by his son who appeared to be in his early 20s. As they neared the venue where the sermon was taking place, the teacher cast his gaze upon them and gestured for them to be seated and partake in the discourse. After the teachings had concluded and the attendees had dispersed, the teacher summoned the man and his son to engage with him in a more personal exchange. The surroundings were enveloped in lush greenery, the weather was pleasant, and the melodious songs of various avian creatures filled the air. Beholding such a tranquil scene, the man felt an overwhelming sense of inner peace. Following this, the teacher inquired about the purpose of the man's visit. The man responded, "O enlightened one, I have undertaken a 2-day journey to bring my soul offspring before you. This son of mine perpetually exhibits signs of lethargy, as if devoid of vitality. His disposition has also become markedly volatile. The slightest utterance elicits an irate response from him. Moreover, his vision has deteriorated significantly at such a tender age, and his hair has begun to turn gray. At this young age, he appears much older than his years, and I am at a loss to comprehend the cause of his affliction. O enlightened one, I am deeply concerned about my son's well-being. When I sought medical counsel, the physicians prescribed medications and advised me to encourage my son to alleviate his burden of stress, as they attribute his condition to an excessive accumulation of mental strain. However, despite their elaborate explanations, I failed to grasp the concept of stress. I am unaware of its nature, the actions that precipitate it, and how to purge it from my son's mind. But first, I must comprehend what stress truly is. That is why, O enlightened one, I have come to you, imploring you to resolve my predicament." Upon hearing this, the teacher scrutinized the son with great care, observing his countenance, peering into his eyes, and assessing his vital signs. After this examination, he addressed the man, "No one desires to harbor stress, yet it ensnares the human mind like a termite, often without the individual's awareness that they are mired in its grasp. However, if one can develop a thorough understanding of the causes of stress and establish a scale to gauge its intensity, then a solution can be found. First, you must comprehend the nature of stress itself. Whenever a person engages in an activity, but their mind wanders elsewhere, a disconnect arises between their physical being and their mental state. The greater this chasm, the more profound the state of unconsciousness, and this very disconnect, this tug-of-war between body and mind, is what constitutes stress. Why does one feel refreshed and joyous after indulging in their favorite pastime, despite expending physical energy? The key lies in the fact that during play, the mind and body are wholly immersed in the activity, thereby eliminating any distance between them and preventing the generation of stress. In fact, if any pre-existing stress was present in the mind, it dissipates. Conversely, when we undertake tasks that hold no interest for us, our minds struggle to remain focused, causing our thoughts to wander aimlessly, thus creating a rift between our physical and mental states, ultimately leading to stress. Therefore, it is imperative for an individual to pursue endeavors aligned with their genuine interests. The teacher continued, "The fourth catalyst for stress is harboring expectations from others." He gestured towards the man, saying, "As a father, you may nurture numerous expectations of your son, such as aspiring for him to become a highly successful individual, bringing honor to your name, living life according to your desires, and obeying your every command. But have anyone's expectations ever been fully realized? Whenever a person begins to harbor expectations of others, they unknowingly sow the seeds of stress within themselves. Ponder this. If your son's actions and choices diverge from your expectations, your mind will undoubtedly become ensnared in stress. You will find yourself leading a stressful existence, and under the influence of this strain, your conduct and words may further strain your relationship with your son. Therefore, it is advisable to minimize expectations of others as much as possible, and to remain completely stress-free. One should altogether abandon the practice of harboring expectations from others." After this, the teacher explained that physical suffering is also a contributing factor to human stress. When an individual endures physical pain, their entire attention becomes fixated on that suffering, and they ruminate upon it incessantly, filling their mind with thoughts of anguish, thereby residing in a perpetual state of stress. Hearing this, the man inquired, "O Buddha, any person can succumb to physical afflictions, so does that imply they must remain entrenched in stress for the duration of their life?" In response, the teacher elucidated, "A human being must comprehend that our existence is predicated upon suffering. As our lives progress, suffering manifests in the form of illnesses, ultimately culminating in death. Thus, ailments are an integral part of the human experience. No one can evade them. The only variability lies in whether they afflict an individual earlier or later in life, but they are inevitable for all. When the human mind fully grasps this reality, it will not become overly burdened by illness, consumed by thoughts of suffering, for this is an intrinsic aspect of our existence. Therefore, an individual should also engage in regular physical exercise and embrace a healthy lifestyle, enabling their body to function optimally and remain disease-free for an extended period." The teacher then identified another cause of stress. When a thought arises in the mind, and without careful consideration, the person acts upon it. Upon achieving unsuccess in that endeavor, they become stressed because they failed to gather comprehensive information about the undertaking before commencing it. An individual should thoroughly contemplate the potential merits and drawbacks of any pursuit before embarking upon it. They should also ponder contingency plans in the event of failure. Consequently, ample time should be devoted to thoroughly understanding one's plans, ensuring they do not subsequently endure stress due to those very plans. The seventh major source of stress, according to the teacher, is procrastination, the act of deferring present tasks to the future. You must have heard the adage, "Laziness is the human body's greatest adversary." Due to indolence, an individual postpones their present obligations to the following day, and this postponement becomes a habitual pattern. A person who procrastinates is seldom able to complete their work in a timely manner, and even if it is eventually accomplished, it rarely meets the standards it could have attained had it been undertaken promptly. This, in turn, breeds stress within the individual. However, procrastination is a habit, and unwittingly, one falls victim to this habit time and again, continually postponing work. When deadlines loom, the individual attempts to complete the work while enveloped in stress. Therefore, to remain stress-free, one must relinquish the habit of deferring work, which is only achievable through a resolute commitment to completing tasks before their due dates. The final and most significant cause of stress, according to the teacher, is overthinking. Constant rumination is akin to an affliction, predominantly observed in individuals with vivid imaginations who dwell excessively on past events and future prospects, entertaining baseless assumptions. Consequently, one should strive to curb the tendency to overthink. To achieve this, they should remain actively engaged in productive pursuits as much as possible and incorporate the practice of meditation into their daily routine. Upon hearing these profound insights from the Buddha's lips, the man folded his hands and said, "Buddha, my son is merely 20 years old and does not yet possess the comprehension to implement all the principles you have imparted at once. Please, kindly share an accessible method for remaining stress-free, so that my son may also adhere to it and lead a life unburdened by strain." Heeding the man's request, the Buddha contemplated for a moment before responding. "If you find it arduous to adhere to so many precepts, there is a remarkably simple method. Focus your attention on one task at a time. Whatever undertaking you are engaged in, direct your entire awareness towards that singular pursuit. And if your mind strays, promptly redirect it back to the task at hand as soon as you become aware of the lapse. This is the simplest and most effective way to remain stress-free. When you consume nourishment, fully immerse yourself in the act of eating, savoring the flavors, and experiencing the process in its entirety. When you ambulate, concentrate your complete attention on the act of walking. By doing so, your mind and body will remain focused at one place. There will be no distance between them, which is the main cause of stress." Friends, today's younger generation has become addicted to doing 2-3 tasks at the same time, such as talking on the phone while driving, watching TV while eating, using the phone. And then their complaint is that, "I am living in stress. My mind is not at peace. I have become irritable." When a person does 3 tasks at the same time, Stress is bound to occur because the mind can focus and do only one task at a time with full attention. It can never fully focus on two tasks at the same time. Therefore, as far as possible, try to do only one task at a time, and that too with full attention. Hope you enjoyed the story. Please like, share, subscribe.